Hello everybody, Lord Almighty here. Today is Saturday, July 20th, 2019, and it is a muggy morning here at the Jersey Shore, and I am here to do some fishing. But I'm going to be trying something a lot different today. It's an idea I've been kicking around in my head, kind of going back and forth as to whether or not I want to do it, because it could be really interesting, or it could be an unmitigated disaster. And what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be fishing in the surf with lures that were designed for freshwater bass fishing. I've got 3 such lures here today. I'm going to try all 3 of them, and my goal is to catch a fish on each one. Now, when I say fish, I just mean anything with fins. Any fish that I happen to catch on these things counts. Whether it be a bluefish or a striper or a fluke, sea robin, whatever. So, the first lure that I'm going to be starting out with today is the chatterbait. Now, the last time I was fishing in the surf, I was using my small homemade bladed jigs, and those definitely caught fish. But this is a full-size version with a skirt, and I'm going to start tossing this around, and I'm going to see if the saltwater fish like this as much as largemouth and smallmouth bass do. Ooh, that felt like a fish. I don't know if that actually was a fish or not, but it sure felt like it. Damn it. Well, on my last cast, the line snapped and my chatterbait went flying off into the great beyond. So I am going to have to switch to the next freshwater lure that I brought with me today, a square bill crankbait, and in particular a crayfish colored square bill crankbait. For those of you, like me, who weren't so good in biology class, I'll just remind you that there are no crayfish in the ocean. My hope is that this thing looks so unnatural and so out of place that the fish will be curious enough to try to eat it. Sort of like an Andrew Zimmern outlook. I can really feel this crankbait digging into the bottom. Maybe I can get a sea robin or a fluke to think that this crankbait is a severely sunburned sand flea. Speaking of sand fleas, guys, there are some that are crawling around in between my toes right now, and it feels strange and alarming. If I didn't know what they were, I would be about 100 yards up the beach right now. Is that a fish? I think that's a fish. It's not big. Holy cow! Oh my goodness, look at that! It's a fluke on a square bill crankbait. Look at that. That's amazing. I was honestly not expecting to catch anything on this. Alright. Look at that. The strangest looking largemouth bass I've ever seen. Back you go, little one. Alright, so I tossed that crankbait around a little bit longer just to see if that fluke I caught wasn't, well, a fluke. And there were no other takers, so I think that one I caught was just the village idiot. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the third freshwater lure that I brought today, And I purposely saved this one for last because out of the 3 that I brought, I thought that this one had the best chance for success. I got myself a Wacky Rig Senko. Oh, fish on. What have I got? What have I got on the Wacky Rig Senko? It's a flounder. Well, he did shake off the Senko, so you don't get the glory shot of the Senko hanging from its mouth, but that's for sure what I caught it on. Alrighty. I knew the Senko would catch something. It always does. So you guys might be wondering why I chose the particular lures that I did to bring surf fishing with me today. And I wanted to pick lures that weren't just freshwater versions of lures that are commonly used in saltwater. I mean, there are freshwater versions of spoons and hair jigs and, you know, curly-tailed grubs, but those are all used in saltwater frequently, and we all know that they work. So I wanted to pick lures that really don't have any saltwater analogs, or at least that I'm aware of. And I've never seen anybody use a chatterbait, a square-bill crankbait, or a Senko to fish saltwater. So I just got real curious to see if they would work in saltwater. And 2 out of 3 of them have had some kind of success. You know, I just thought of something really interesting throwing this Senko around. Or at least I think it's interesting. So a lot of stick baits and other soft plastics for freshwater are salt impregnated. And I'm wondering, if you're fishing a salt impregnated bait in salt water, does that make a difference? Or would just a regular non-salt impregnated bait do just as well? These are the things that keep me up at night, folks. I got something nibbling on this. Feels pretty small. Yep, there he is again. He's just kind of grabbing one end of it, I think. Ooh. Got a fish on? Oh, he's off. That was definitely a fish, though. Well, guys, I stuck with the Senko for over an hour, and I got a few more nibbles, but nothing serious. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a break from the freshwater lures, and I put on a piece of gulp, and I'm just going to toss that around to see if I can't catch just a few more fish, because 2 fish for a morning of fishing is just really not that satisfying. There we go. Alright, there's a flatty. First cast on the gulp. Easy, Pally. There we go. Alright. Maybe we'll catch a few more. There we go. second cast on the gulp. Alright, now we got something to show for our efforts this morning. Oh, he's on it. See him nibbling? See that rod tip shaking? Oh, he's off. He was a small one. But he was right in close. He was right out there. Is that a fish? I think it is. Well, he hit that way out there. Not very big. Looks like another little fluke. Yep, sure is. Alright. Oh, he came back for it. Last couple of fish I've caught have been way out there. I guess they're trying to get away from the bathers and surfers. Yep, and off he comes. Perfect. Oh, you got another nibbler. I'm gonna let this one take it a little bit. He's still on? I think so. Yep. Get on up here. All right. Okay. There's another one. Another one on the gulp, which definitely seems to be outperforming the freshwater lures. Oh, there we go. This fish might be a little better. Wonder what I've got. Oh, no. It's a fluke, and it is not really that much better. Same little shorties. Looks like somebody dropped their phone. Maybe. Alright everybody, well, here is my appraisal of how things shook out today. So, I came here with 3 freshwater lures, and I wound up catching 1 fluke each on 2 of them. I lost that chatterbait before I could catch anything on it, but I was using that for a fairly long while without much action, so I'm going to go ahead and say that that one was not effective. But 2 out of 3 isn't bad. However, as a point of comparison, On 2 casts with the gulp, I equaled my fish total for all of the freshwater lures. So there's a reason why the tried and true saltwater tactics are in fact tried and true. But based on what we saw today, it is certainly not impossible to catch fish from the surf on bass tackle. So for all of you guys who fish freshwater and are looking to get into saltwater, you might not need to buy as much gear as you think. Just grab a rod, grab some bass lures, and hit the beach. You might be just as pleasantly surprised as I was. Thank you all so much for joining me, and I will see you on the next adventure.